Good evening, Californians. It's Friday night, October 22nd, 2021, and this is PodCast22. We are Red Star Report. This is Voices for the California Nation. So, these things we know. We know that California is still on fire, even as some much-needed rain is moving through parts of California. We know that 2021 is one of the driest years in recorded history for California, and climate change is playing a major role in that. Still don't believe it? Really, go cry to the scientists. Opinion on this is dismissed. Sorry. Because we know the fossil fuel industry, particularly oil and coal companies, knew that as the burning of their product caused the release of so-called greenhouse gases and would cause catastrophic environmental problems, they had these reports back in 1969. For me, as an old Angelino, I remember smog alerts. I grew up watching oil companies deny auto emissions were a problem while they fought the California clean air regulations that eventually made smog alerts a thing of the past. We know that even as we begin the cleanup from the Huntington Beach oil spill, the Texas oil companies with federal offshore licenses are already ready to drill baby drill the California coast into another Gulf Coast-style ecological disaster zone. We know the only thing really stopping them right now are California regulations and lawsuits from the California Attorney General's office that this federally stacked conservative Supreme Court will strike down as soon as they get a chance. And we know that despite failing on voting rights, women's reproductive rights, police reforms, assault weapons, and so on and so on and so on, many Californians are still hoping that Joe Biden's Build Back Better legislation will get passed by the Democrats alone in Washington, D.C., and just make stuff all better. Because we thought that climate change legislation was supposed to be a big part of it, right? And for the first time in a decade, Congress was at least debating a climate plan with maybe a snowball's chance in hell of some passage. Like California's new clean energy legislation, we know that Build Back Better would have forced America's utility companies to replace fossil fuels with clean energy. It also would have expanded tax credits for solar and wind power and electric cars, require oil and gas companies to pay for methane emissions, and fund farming and forestry programs to keep carbon out of the atmosphere. But we know the bill predictably has zero California-hating Republican support. We know that fully half of the federal government doesn't have California's best interests at heart before any legislative discussion even began. And that means passage of Build Back Better, and with it the hopes of most Californians that the federal government might finally start to take some kind of action on climate change, now hinges on two Democratic senators that once again, surprise, no Californians actually voted for. Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona, whose environmental attitude has changed from her Green Party days of we need to do something now to her Democratic Party today of what about the economy and let's not be too hasty. Fossil fuel industry donors platform in a single election cycle. Smell that money. And Joe Manchin of West Virginia, who prior to politics made his fortune in coal and is now raking in campaign funds from America's oil and gas companies. Surprise. Just two people standing on a couple of procedural issues, holding California's climate fate hostage. Senators who were elected to the U.S. government by fewer votes than needed to be elected mayor of Los Angeles, by the way. So I guess we also know that to get Cinnamon Manchin's measly 2 votes and save Democratic political face, climate change legislation that's desperately needed by 40 million Californians will probably be dumped from the Build Back Better bill to appease these 2 piece of shit non-California senators. Peachy. Another real opportunity lost. Another waste of time symbolic gesture victory lap gained. And another failure, just like on voting rights and police reform and et cetera, again. All this as California burns. The U.S. federal government that most Californians have pinned their hopes on will fall short for Californians again, wasting what might be America's last chance to solve global warming before California, and maybe the rest of the world, is irretrievably lost. Or maybe it should just be irretrievably fucked. So, have to ask, given what will likely happen at the midterm elections, should California wait for what could be another decade of inaction to pass before California does anything more on climate? It's funny. As much as Californians from our own political left, right, and center like to complain about our terrible state government, California, such as it is, at least gets some things done. The state of California has already passed legislation requiring utility companies to switch over to green energy, and you know that an independent California nation would do even more. I mean, even if I were using this as just one of many examples, and I admit it, I am, why wouldn't Californians at the very least give independence serious consideration again? Instead of continuing to give this broke-ass federal government a pass, or pass after pass for that matter, for failure after failure. We know that given the track record of the Democratic Party and the U.S. federal government, that incremental progress is the best they can do, even in the face of crisis. We know that if the Republican Party regains control of the federal government in 2022 or in 2024, that California will have a bullseye on its back. And California will spend all of its political energy just running in place, fighting to keep conservatives from inflicting their regressive social and economic agenda onto Californians. Are Californians waiting for Rachel Maddow to throw her hands up in the air and yell, "Run for your lives," before they act? So, in case you're not getting it, this is the new CalExit point here. We know that once again, the fate of 40 million Californians can, and probably will, be sold out by a few federal office holders that have no connection to California and no reason to give a damn about how their actions affect our nation's state. And we know that that's never going to change as long as California remains part of the United States. Rah, rah, USA. We know this isn't the Biden honeymoon you were expecting that made you question the need for California independence, is it? These things we know. This is Voices for the California Nation. Next up, Activism in Action with Shankar Singham. It's all you, Shankar.
Thank you, Hal. Welcome to another episode of Activism in Action. So tonight, it's power-packed. You're supposed to be scared. You will be scared because I'm not bullshitting you. I'm not trying to scare you. You should be worried about what's happening right now in the world. I haven't been going to much activist actions, protests, because there haven't really been any. Not on the left. On the right, however, they have been dominating the entire nation, including here in California. Sacramento this last week, they had over 1,000 people show up about anti-masks. Okay? Why are they galvanizing like this? Why are they threatening school boards? Why are they worried about vaccine mandates? They don't give a shit about any of this, folks. This is all practice. For what? Let me back up and let me just put everything in context on why the right wing is behaving this way and why the left wing is doing absolutely nothing but kowtowing and putting their palms up and bowing down to these blowhards. They have no spine, the left, in the United States. But if you look at what's happening right now, you can look at history and see the exact same thing. When nations change governments through a coup, there's a pattern that emerges. What usually happens, and this happens 9 out of 10 times, is that when a coup happens, the first attempt is always a failure. So you can always look at Napoleon, look at Gaddafi, look at Saddam Hussein, look at Pinochet. They tried to take over their nations. They failed the first time. They regrouped, did their homework, saw their weak points, and came at it again and dominated and took over the country. On January 6th, 2021, that was Trump's first attempt. And if you don't believe that, then you're naive. If you think he's gone and he's not going to do anything again, you're naive. If you think Joe Biden is there and the Democrats are in charge, you're naive. As we speak right now, as I'm doing this report, they're in Congress right now holding right-wing Republicans coming to Congress to testify and they're treating this whole thing like an absolute clown show that it is. And they're stalling, folks. They're stalling. Because in 2024, Trump will be president. Regardless of who wins the election, regardless of who wins the popular vote or the electoral vote, it doesn't matter. Trump is going to win. You don't believe me, but that is what's going to happen. It doesn't matter how many votes he has. They're going to take the election. They're going to take it. Period. And once he does, if you think that you're going to protest in the streets and you're going to march and be upset about how he stole the election or how Trump is president, if you think you're going to do that, you go right on ahead, because the first people that are going to be there to stop you are the people that are protesting right now. Protesting about CRT and the masks and the vaccine. They're practicing right now, folks. And they're going to box you right out of the streets. They're going to shout and box you right out. Silence you. You're the left. You kowtow every time. That's the days that are ahead, folks. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm hoping I am scaring you. The ones that will be punching you in the street, that'll be confronting you to your face about going against the almighty orange God, they will yell at your face. And they won't be wearing brown shirts, they'll be wearing red hats. This is a grave warning, folks. I'm beseeching my fellow Californians here to turn off that cat video. To stop looking at baby pictures for just 1 second and just hear this. Because this is rooted in history and in fact. If you don't think the right wing will box you out of the streets, you have another thing coming. Do you think that the right wing is really upset about a mask, wearing a mask? Do you think they're really upset about getting a vaccine when they'll take horse dewormer, a steroid, malaria medication, all kinds of vitamins, everything but the actual vaccine to fight COVID? Their own are dying, in fact, in greater numbers than anyone. They don't care. This is all just fodder for what's coming ahead. This is the fake outrage. You think they really believe that CRT, critical race theory, is being taught to 5-year-olds? They don't believe it, folks. This is just a talking point to get them riled up. And all it does is rile their base up, which creates more conflict, which shines a light on the right some more. And the left just sits and watches. They're about to stomp all over us, folks. This fake outrage is practice. And we sit and watch it and condone it. And so do the Democrats in Congress. They don't give a shit. They fall into their ploy every time. And this is how the right wins every single time. Look. Watch this video. This is video of January 6th. Watch it. That's what I'm talking about, folks. You think those are regular people in there? They were chanting the national anthem of the United States while fighting police and poking cops and beating cops up, chanting the national anthem, folks. What is the difference between these people, those people that you saw in there, and I hate this analogy, but it's true, a white supremacist Nazi? What's the difference? That crowd is all white. Both of them don't like Black Lives Matter. Don't believe them. They believe they're a terrorist organization. Both of them don't like immigration. They don't like immigrants coming into this country. Both of them think Muslims are a terrorist threat. They have more alike than differences. They are straight Nazis. And they're coming for you and me. They want me gone. They want brown people gone. Whether that's killed or leaving or gone. There's no difference between them and Nazis, folks. Watch this other video. Just to ingrain it into your heads what exactly who we're up against here. Play video 2. They're chanting USA, USA as they beat a cop to a pulp. As the cops are getting their asses handed to them. They're chanting USA, fight for Trump, fight for Trump. This video is taken from a website called Sedition Hunters, and we'll be featuring that website and a chud every week, every show at least, from this segment, so we can out some of these guys, because these Sedition Hunters is who's been helping the FBI catch these guys, and we will, and as by all help me before 2024, I'm gonna try to try to get as much of these folks arrested as possible. Do you think, folks, that these are just regular backwoods yokels, kooky people? They just don't know what they're doing. Look at that crowd, folks. You have retired military in there, active military, off-duty military. You have off-duty law enforcement, active law enforcement in there, cops, military, federal agents. This is who they are. They're ready for a war. They're ready for a battle. And there's one coming up. There's only 4,000 of them, about 4,000 of them at that coup. You think they learned their lesson? I think they learned their lesson. You think it's from the little bit of time that they're getting? 14 days? 2 weeks? Big deal. Folks, when it happens again, it's going to be 24,000. Armed, ready to beat up everybody, just ready to kill. They were killing today. A Capitol policeman was charged with aiding and abetting the rioters, because these people are sewn into the fabric of the United States, folks, all the way on up to the government, all the way on up to the highest office. Mark my words on that. They have the political backing. They have the military might. They will take over. And the left will do nothing. Wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up, left. You know, which brings me to the main segment here. Every time there is a school shooting, every time a kid goes into a school, or somebody goes into school and just lights up a bunch of kids, the entire country, doesn't matter left or right, doesn't matter. In fact, a poll shows 80% of people in the United States want some sort of gun legislation to curb this. Congress does nothing, absolutely nothing to fight it. I'm not going to go into why or how, even though it's blatantly obvious. Knowing that the government isn't going to do anything about firearms, in fact, they'll probably do the opposite. I think it's time to restructure our thought in how we engage with firearms in California especially. I've been working with the CNP, whose candidate, Michael Loebs, just got 27,000 votes from his fellow Californians. Thank you very much, Californians. We've been working on some sort of gun legislation. The CNP is not anti-gun by any ways. In fact, the entire California independence movement is more into localism and helping your own communities instead of helping the entire planet or the world as this country. It's grow your strengths from your community. It's localized, and if that community wants to defend itself, it should be able to defend itself by whichever firearm or no firearm if it decides to. It's up to that community, that county, that area to decide what their laws are about firearms. That's the California independence movement's general consensus on firearms. Now, in saying that, and this is going to hurt all you lefties out there. I want you to take some Tums, because this is going to make your stomach queasy. Look, I've been on the anti-gun side. I wanted to ban all firearms. Believe me, I know all the arguments, and if anything at all, I've been not, I wouldn't say pro firearm, but I'm active shooter. I know how to handle a firearm, whether it be a shotgun, handgun, rifle. I'm fairly well versed, and I think that skill set should be ingrained in every Californian, in every single person. And in saying that, all we're doing is right here is we're mirroring the Swedish type of gun advocacy, the Swedish gun model, where every citizen is trained with a firearm and knows exactly how to use it. It's not a boogie gun or something to be scared of. The left is so scared of firearms, and it's about time that attitude start changing. It needs to start changing, folks, because they're not going to make any laws banning anything. You need to confront your fears, go out, go buy yourself a handgun, and then enroll in what is soon to be coming, as soon as we get this legislation up, a statewide mandatory training, 1-day training on your firearm that you just purchased. Now, the right will have an issue with this. This is everything that they dreamed of. Buy a firearm, go get your free training on the firearm. But they will hate this because the left came up with it. But folks, we don't give a shit what the right wing thinks. This is California, and the guns are coming in from the United States and pouring here into California, and it gets exported throughout the world through our ports. So we're up to our eyeballs in firearms, which is why we have the strictest gun legislation in the country. That doesn't do anything. So let's embrace this, folks, and let's start learning about firearms instead of being deathly scared of them, and creating these bullshit laws that make no sense and do no good at all. So that's the attitude of this station of Red Star Report. I can tell you that for sure. We are not, say, pro firearm, but we're firearm conscious. In light of recent events, especially with the federal government in its shaky terms, I think it's wise to be. For those of you who hate firearms, who don't want anything to do with it, good luck. There's enough of us on the left that know what's up. You stand behind us or join us. Because, folks, it's going to get ugly. I'm not trying to scare you. That's all I got for you today. God bless Cali Antifa. God bless California. Hal, back to you.
Thank you, Shankar. Next up, we have a special Red Star contribution from a very old and dear friend of ours, Matt Owen, discussing an event he's planning for November 4th in Monterey, California.
Hello, everyone. I come to you today from somewhere in California, preparing for California Independence Day, 4th November, to commence about 2:33 p.m. at the California Presidio Historic Park. There, those of you who can make it, we'll be bringing this flag you see behind me back to its starting point, its historical starting point. Those of you who can't make it to Monterey on the 4th, I urge each and every one of you to raise this flag wherever you're at and issue the call for our common liberation, but wherever you're at. Hope to see you at the 4th. I'll be broadcasting via Facebook room from Monterey, and hopefully others in other locations will be raising this flag. We will begin the process anew of our liberation. Viva Gran California Libre, workers of the world, unite.
Thank you, Matt Owen, for that Red Star contribution. Next up, Talking Points. For tonight on Talking Points, we look at California's We're All in This Together, United We Stand crowd's favorite question. A question asked by people of good heart, generally, but maybe not quite enough spine, who see America's problems but are slow to want California to walk away from our often abusive U.S. relationship. These are the people that believe in political rainbows and unicorns, who eternally feel that America will be okay after the next election if we all just link arms and sing Kumbaya one more time. These are the Californians that watch MSNBC and quote Barack Obama and Joe Biden and the whole Democratic Party gang. They send money to those out-of-state political campaigns and candidates to get more Democrats, or Republicans for that matter, elected to Congress, who could in the end care less about California. And the question we're talking about, though, goes like this. If California leaves the United States, what about the Democrats or progressives left behind in the rest of America? And we hear this question a lot at various political rallies involving what we in the independence movement consider California values issues. The Women's March is a very good example. It's a question that needs a little unpacking before we can give an answer. The first consideration is the person asking it. It's usually someone who just can't get their head around the idea of an independent California existing outside of the USA as they understand it. All their lives, it's been the red, white, and blue, with Democrats and Republicans waging the same eternal campaigns over the same issues for decades and decades. You want to ask them, why would that matter? If California is its own sovereign country, why would we care then any more about U.S. politics than we do about Mexico's or Canada's politics today? This question is the right answer, by the way, but it won't make a dent in that we're all in this together mentality the person asking is coming from. Because you and the person asking are standing in two very different American realities. They are standing in a familiar and very comfortable past, where Americans are always the good guys and America can always be saved. A world where the idea that America will always rally back in the end, and the idea that American exceptionalism does not evoke a certain amount of gag reflex. An America where the stars and stripes, even though for some reason it now makes the asker uncomfortable to see the people who are most commonly flying it, hasn't been totally co-opted by 20 plus years of right-wing fascist propaganda. You, on the other hand, haven't done the math. You've made the mental leap. You've evolved. California would be better off without the USA, and just look at it. America is not going to come together and be saved anytime in the foreseeable future. Talking point. If California leaves the United States, what about the Democrats and progressives left behind in the rest of America? Answer. It's not California's job to fix America. The truth here is America is constitutionally a loser for the people of California. Between big money donors in the U.S. political institutions like the Senate and the Electoral College, small rural states will always have supersized political power over the lives of California voters. And Californians are stuck with a federal government that has no incentive to fix that system. So the ongoing abuse of a rigged system of money and power is constantly going to be used against the interests of California, in perpetuity. In other words, small states and big donors broke America for their benefit, and All Californians can do with the current U.S. system is either sue in court or protest in the streets. And now, with this right-wing politicized so-called Supreme Court ready to take a sledgehammer to everything we consider as California progressive values, even basic U.S. legal protections of the past are gone. So what about the Democrats and progressives left behind in the rest of America? Well, here's my personal opinion. The answer that I never give them. Tell them to go fight their own damn battles. There's no magic here. Californians reject right-wing rule because Californians stand together on the issues against devolving people and regressive policies. So yeah, it's not Californians' job to have to drag the rest of the knuckle-dragging Americans who call us elitists anyway, kicking and screaming into the 21st century. This is Talking Points. That's it for this week. As always, check out our website, www.redstarreport.com. Transcripts for Talking Points will be posted there eventually. Also, be sure to subscribe to our Red Star Report YouTube channel. That's where you're watching this now. Go find our Red Star Report Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, etc., because if you want a real California independence movement media group, and I keep saying it, say it with me, it's all about the algorithms. Our thanks to you and all our Red Star Rebels for watching. Have a great week. I hope you had a great weekend. We are Red Star Report.